So my first question for you is, did you always want to be a director and a producer?
No. As a kid, I wanted to be a professional basketball player,
Hmm.
and it's pretty funny. But no, I didn't even consider like being a director or producer. I did enjoy movies, like watching movies as a kid. But the thought didn't really cross my mind that that could be like a career path.
So like you mentioned you wanted to be a basketball player and you ended up working for the Bucks.
hmm
So what does a producer and director do for the Bucks?
So a producer and director for the Bucks pretty much means that they oversee like an entire project.
Mm.
So if somebody on the team has an idea, the producer will take that idea and just execute it to completion. And that can include, videography, editing, and also the brainstorming, like I said, the idea portion of it. So as a producer, you're seeing the video the entire way through.
So nowadays you work for a thing called Plum Media. So like what is one of the biggest things that like Plum Media has worked on as a group?
Um, a lot of things. So Plum Media does live events. So they've done a lot of live events. Well, I think one of the biggest events that they've done was the Wisconsin Sports Awards.
Mm.
And stuff that I've worked on, one of the bigger projects that we've worked on was a campaign with Bobby Portis in
Mm.
Feeding America, Eastern Wisconsin. And we did
I've seen that. I think I've
yeah,
seen that video, yeah.
the little Bobby Portis like puppet, Junior, they call him. So we did that. And there's just a lot of other projects as
Mm.
well.
And then what was the hardest part about making your short film that you showed us?
Oh, the hardest part, I think, was probably writing the idea. So I had an idea for a film, and the idea came to me while I had my time as a video professor,
Mm.
and I had this idea for. I almost wanted to make a film about like the younger generation, so
Mm.
your generation, and just the things that I was observing with the students were. I mean, they were really nervous about the future. They didn't know if like
Mm.
they were going to have a future, especially in video production. And I had an idea, okay, how can I tie that in with things that are affecting the Latino community?
Mm.
And that was the toughest part. So writing it and making those two ideas kind of blend together.
Yeah. So what was the title of the short film you made?
Oh, the title of the film is Alma Lucida,
Mm.
and that translates in English to Lucid Soul.
Mm. Yeah.
Mm.
Hello.
How do you come up with the stories for the short films that you make?
So the ideas that I come up with for my short films are based around like my experiences in life. So I just mentioned Alma Lucida, and that came to me during my time with my students, and also things that are happening in the world. So that's one thing that I like really pay attention to as a filmmaker and a storyteller, is just all the things that are happening, not only to my community but also different communities, and I take that as inspiration, and then I try to find a unique way to present those ideas to the world, essentially.
What do you think is the most important part when writing these stories?
The most important part when writing a story, I think, is being honest first to yourself, because then the audience is going to tell if you're not like really, if you don't really actually believe in the idea. And I think that's the biggest important thing as not just a storyteller, but any form of artist, is you really, really have to believe in your idea. And because that's going to help you through those tough times when you're either shooting the project or editing it. So honesty and believing it is key.
What has been your favorite work so far that you've done?
My favorite like project? Oh, there's so many. Well, actually, we're in Racine, so there's one project that I got to work on during my time with the Bucks, and that was when the Bucks players and the coaching staff were invited to go inside the Racine Correctional Institution, and the Bucks players got to speak to the residents inside the prison, essentially, and then the coaches played against some of the residents, and then the Bucks players got to coach the coaches. But my role was I was there shooting a little short documentary. So I was filming everything. And being inside a prison is, I mean, I had never been inside a prison before, so it was scary and exciting at the same time. And that was my favorite project just because I don't think I'll ever get an opportunity like that again.
You said you did 3D animation before switching to filmmaking. Do you have any s- important like skill sets that you used in 3D animation that has helped you?
Oh, absolutely. So in 3D animation, I learned every part of that like art form. So there's modeling, there's rigging, there's animating, and then there's like compositing. So I wanted it to be a generalist. I wanted to know all of those things. And included in those things as well is setting up cameras and lighting inside the 3D space. And I really learned a lot from that. And I think that's where my love for video production came from, was playing around with these like virtual scenes. And I wanted to do that, but with real people. So I think that gives me a unique sort of like perspective and view because I see a set as like the whole. I don't just focus on one thing. And I know where to put lighting people into position and cameras and actors um and directing essentially. So I think that's the biggest thing that I took away from that and it gave me that edge.
And my last question is, how has the community around you helped you build up through your journey?
Oh, that's a really great question. I've been very lucky with the community around me. Milwaukee, I mean, Wisconsin in general is pretty small. I think when people think of like filmmaking communities, they right off the bat think of like California, LA, or New York. But I've been lucky that I've gotten a chance to collaborate with different actors. I've worked with different, videographers and things like that, and they've just taught me little things and invested in me. And I think I've been very lucky in that, and that's really what has helped me grow. So that's a testament to all the people who've like invested in me.
So you mentioned that you transitioned, like, well, you went from video to film.
Mhm.
Here in this program, we went from film to video. How was your transition from video to film?
Oh, you mean from animation
Like,
to video?
well, because you said that you also did film.
Oh, sure.
So how was that like for you?
My transition from video to filmmaking, I think it started early. So that's actually how I got into video. So when I was doing animation, I wanted to learn how to do video. So to do that, I wrote a short film script and then I got actors together and I shot that. And that film is Jin. It was my very first short film. And that was sort of the transition when I started to once I finished that project, then I started diving into video for social media and things like that, and that's actually how I landed with the Bucks.
When starting like a new project, what is something that you always keep in mind to do?
I think for the biggest thing when I start a project is I have to have an idea that like gets me excited. So, because I know it's going to take time, it's going to take resources, I'm going to have to reach out to different people. So, my rule is when I've worked with different people is my job is to make them care. So if I don't care enough about the idea, why would anybody else? So that's the biggest thing for me.
When you're finishing a project, what do you like? What do you make sure to do when you're finishing a project?
I like making music as well. So when I'm finishing a project or a short film, I really take time with the music. I think it's very important. And it's like the sprinkles on top. It's like that finishing touch and almost like a reward because you spend all this time and I don't want to choose a bad song or anything like that. So that's that's what I do. That's the final step.
All right, for the first question, who is your favorite director and why?
Oh, that's a tough one. I don't really have a favorite director. There's one I've been told that I have a similar style to a certain director in particular. I forget his name. I feel bad now, but he directed the film Drive.
Never heard of it.
No, it's with Ryan Gosling, and he's a driver in like downtown LA. Has a really cool soundtrack too.
Mm.
But I would say he also directed Only God Forgives, so I would say that's probably been my favorite director recently.
Mm. Why did you hop into like film and video? Like, why did you get into that type of style? Like, what got you into doing it?
What got me into doing video was, to be honest, I just got tired of sitting behind a computer desk for 8 hours a day doing the 3D animation. I really liked being on set and being around different people, and we're all working together to, you know, create a film, create a story or one idea. So it's really cool to see people working together. And I think that's the biggest thing for me, is just being around other people and being social.
So if people like forget their lines on set, how do you help them like get back on track or like get them back to where they were before?
I'm very patient with actors. So and that's natural, if they'll forget lines or anything like that. What I always do, I don't interrupt them. I don't cut them off, even if they mess up a line. I let them finish. And then I'll keep the camera rolling and I'll say, oh, that take was great. Let's do it one more time and try it with this different energy or this different emotion. I think you really have to be careful and respect actors, because you don't want to say something like, oh, no, you messed up the line, because then they'll start to get in their own head. So if they do mess up a line, I won't tell them that they did. I'll just say, that was a good take. We're going to do a couple more. And yeah, that's my style.
So if you were to be an actor, like what is your dream movie to star in? Like what is a movie you want to be in? Like basically like your dream movie to be in as like an actor or director.
Or a director. A dream movie. That's a tough one. I would honestly, yeah, my dream movie would to make not a documentary, but a biopic film. So like they just came out with the Michael Jackson movie. I would want to make a film like that for Louis Armstrong. Are you guys familiar with that name?
Mm-hmm.
He's a famous jazz player,
Mm-hmm.
trumpet player from New Orleans. And I always had the idea, I'm like, Cuba Gooding Jr. would be a fantastic actor to play him, and I would love to direct that film.
You should.
Yeah. Well, Hollywood, if they see this video, reach out and we'll make it happen.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you. How are you doing?
Good.
Good.
So you mentioned having students. What do you teach?
So I teach video production 1 and video production 2 at a community college. And I teach all facets of like production. So basically, as a producer, I like to work on all parts of a video. So that's coming up with the idea, shooting it, editing it, and exporting it to the like final delivery. And that's what I try to teach like my students. I think it's really important to know different parts of production so that they have that knowledge and are able to succeed in the real world.
And what's the hardest part of like producing?
That's a really great question. The hardest part about producing, it depends on the project, but if say you're working with a client, it's really tough to get the client to like buy into your idea. So say if a client has like no idea, they're like, I want a video about X topic, and you have a really great idea and you get really excited. The art of producing is how do you make your idea other people's ideas? So that's the toughest part, I think, about the whole process, because shooting and down to editing, I mean, that has its like workflow, but it's the idea, like where does it come from? Who gets to sign off on the idea? And because ultimately the client is giving money to you for their idea. And that also applies to like the film world. So it's like that pre-production stage is what we call it. And that's when you come up with the idea you find funding to get the idea made. That's everything. Most people think, oh, you got to spend a lot of money in production to shoot and in editing, and that's true. But if you really want to succeed, spend more time in pre-production and make sure that you get the story right, you get the client to buy in, and again, that principle, and making sure that you're making people care.
What is like, because we've seen like your sports videos and you mentioned like your documentaries too. Like, what's your favorite thing to shoot?
My favorite thing to shoot, it's tough. I would say probably like short films. So ideas that I come up with where I can, if I need to, by myself, go out and film them, or I can reach out to a few actors and get the idea made, and in a relatively short period of time, get the piece finished and either post it on YouTube or submit it to film festivals. That's probably my favorite thing.
And you mentioned how like you're really like kind of lenient with your actors and how like you're not really like so strict about like the ship. Like while in like the producing phase, do your films like change a lot with the script and what you want happening?
Yes, it's so initially in my first couple of films, I realized that the script was sort of changing just a little bit, not too much. And I think that's pretty natural. I think as long as the core idea is there, I'm cool with, actors or whoever kind of changing up their lines a little bit. As long as, and that to me shows that they really care about the project and that they're buying in. Um, so yes, it's natural for certain, not the entire script, but certain parts of the script to change, certain scenes, lines. And I think that just comes down to the like collaboration part of it. It's people coming together to work on an idea. And it's really fun if you're open and you allow people to make a role theirs or just add their own twist or take on certain scenes or lines.
Did you have any favorite movie franchises growing up?
Yes. So my favorite movie franchise was the Blade franchise. So that, are you familiar with Blade? Yeah. So that was like Wesley Snipes growing up, watching him was really cool. And also The Mask of Zorro. So those were two of my favorite, and a third one, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like I was a huge, and
Which
I'm still
one?
a huge fan. The first film, live action one, like that's my favorite.
Would you say any movie that you've seen has inspired you or any of your work?
Yes. Oddly enough, the way that I shoot, I really like the look of that first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle film. So it's a lot of like contrast and shadows and fun lighting. So that was a big one. And then also there was a documentary that I watched as a kid, Hoop Dreams. That was actually filmed in Chicago, so not too far from here. That really impacted me as a kid and started my love for basketball. And then when I landed with the Bucks, like that film like really stuck with me and it influenced my shooting style and the way I tell stories.
What would you say is the most difficult type of media to film?
Oh, the difference, most difficult type of media. I would say documentaries are probably like that sort of storytelling are the toughest, and specifically documentaries that deal with social issues. Um, a lot of people like to watch documentaries about like tacos or stuff like that, things that are like fun. But when it comes to unpopular topics or topics that affect certain communities and there are difficult stories to tell, those are the toughest in my opinion to produce, to film, and to edit, just because that's an example of where the initial idea can kind of change, and the role of the producer is making sure that the story is still intact. So
What's something that goes on behind the scenes of film that nobody would expect?
something goes behind the scenes of film. There's a lot actually, but it I would say one of the things that go on behind the scenes when working on films is like crew members or actors backing out. So getting a film done is one thing. It's an amazing feat, but nobody talks about like, oh, this actor backed out or this person was supposed to shoot my film and, they couldn't make it. So it's those things that go on behind the scenes. And then that's part of the reason why I like and I know every part of production because I know I'm going to be there every single day. So if I'm shooting the film, okay, I don't need to worry about a camera guy because I'm going to be filming it. And same with editing. So I'll do it myself. So I just try to keep the crew and cast as small as possible because then I know I have a better chance to get the project done.
Speaking of editing, would you have any tips or like advice for anybody who wanted to be an editor?
Yes, I would say just edit. So shoot your own like short films on your phone and bring them into like Final Cut, DaVinci Resolve, whatever you use, and just practice editing. It's the only way you're going to get better is just by editing. And then also, I would also say as an editor, it's highly valuable that you also understand script writing and how to write a story. So that way you and the producer are like on the same page. So I would say write your own scripts. And if you don't want to make your own stories, that's fine. But just practice writing and editing.
Okay, last question. If you could work with any actor, who would it be?
If I could work with any actor. Have to pick carefully here if I only had one. There's so many. Which
What would be your like top 3?
okay, top 3. I'm drawing blank here. Well, I grew up with the Blade franchise, so I would say Wesley Snipes would be an actor that I would love to work with. And Kathy Bates is another. She's an actress. So if you haven't seen the film Misery, I would highly recommend you check it out. She's an amazing actress. She also did, I think, like Fried Green Tomatoes. So, and she was my mom's favorite actress. So I would want to work with her just to tell her that. And probably the third actor that would be my absolute favorite to work with would be probably Ryan Gosling. I think I've seen him in a few things lately. He was in Project Hail Mary.
Mm-hmm.
And I just keep hearing that he's just a really easygoing guy and fun to work with. So I think he'd be my third.
Who's like a filmmaker who has like influenced your type of style in filming?
It's a great question. I would say I don't think I have any really filmmakers that have influenced me. I grew up as a kid drawing a lot. And when I went to college for 3D animation, we would have to take a lot of traditional like arts classes, so sculpting, painting, drawing. So I grew up really studying a lot of the like Renaissance artists, so Leonardo, Raphael, all of those artists. So I would say probably those artists really influenced me in the way they would like paint shadows and things like that. So I don't think there's really a director out there that I really looked at and was like, oh, I want to have his style. It's mainly been just like traditional artists.
And when like, what's a film that you've made or like somebody else has made that's just is like meaningful to you?
Meaningful. There's a film called Arrival. So it's an alien film. And it was such a unique take on like that genre that it really like was impactful to me. And it was like the way they told the story and just like the whole message or the reason why the aliens, interacted with humans. I think that film is one that like blew my mind. And just a brief thing about the film. So the film was about aliens that made contact with Earth, and the government hired this one woman in particular to understand their language or at least try to communicate with them. And then as she was doing that, the aliens communicated to her that they wanted to give the gifts of their language. So humans think of the way we speak. We have past, present, and future tense. The aliens don't think that way. So in their language, all of those things happen at the same time. So the beauty of that film was this woman was living through the past, present, and future tense all at the same time because she was understanding their language. And for me, I had never seen anything like that before. It was amazing.
And when a story is hard to get across, how do you like try your best to get across to your viewers?
A story that's hard to get across. I feel like all stories are like difficult to get made. So I just go back to that principle of like, it starts with like me. So I have to care about the story first. Because if I don't care about it, why would anybody else care about the story? And then, okay, if you care about the story, do your actors care about it? Do your crew members care about it? Does your client? Because if you don't have buy-in from all of those people, then most likely the project won't get finished, and then you won't even get a chance to show it. So I would say it just comes back always to that for me. When I'm thinking of an idea, I'll just think about it for a while, and I'll just kind of let it flow in my head. And then by the time I get to writing it down, then I ask myself, okay, before I show the idea to anyone, I'm like, do I think they would care? And then I'll get some feedback from people in my like community, my network. And if they're like, oh yeah, that's a cool idea, then I'm like, okay, then I'll make the asks and then I'll try to get the project made.
Speaking of the Ninja Turtles movie, do you like movies with like CGI or like working with CGI?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, I like films with CGI, but not too much. I think the films that are like really well done are ones that use a blend of practical effects, so like animatronics or like robots, props, with CGI and visual effects. So like the first Jurassic Park film is a great example. Recently, Project Hail Mary. So there was an alien character in that film that was an actual like animatronic puppet. And I think that's really important. I think it's really boring to shoot everything on green screen because your actors aren't seeing anything. So if you give them like a puppet or a prop or something to like react to or genuinely like scare them or make them react, the audience is going to see that.
Have you seen the Bay vs. Transformers movies?
Bay vs. Transformers? Michael Bay Transformers?
Yeah.
Movies? Yeah.
They call it the Bay vs. Transformers.
Yeah.
That's probably my favorite movie with CGI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, those are amazing.
And the Godzilla King of the Monsters movies.
Yeah. I highly agree.
What else was I going to ask? Hold on.
Are you studying are you going to be an animator or?
I do want to be an animator.
Yeah. Do you want to do hand-drawn or 3D?
Hand-drawn.
Okay. Yeah. I'm all for that. I think it's a lost art and we need to bring that back.
Where can we see your work?
So you can find my work on social media, on YouTube, and you can find me at J Castle Film, all one word, and it's that same for everything. Thank you, Brad.